He was an undocumented immigrant, and he didn't come here to judge anyone. He didn't come here to fight with anybody. He just wanted a normal American, they say American dream life.
Brenda Marie Gonzalez lost her uncle, 25-year-old Juan Chavez Martinez, in the massacre last weekend at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. Chavez Martinez was an undocumented immigrant from Mexico who worked as a housekeeping supervisor for a hospitality company. Co-workers describing him to the Orlando Sentinel as an excellent boss and person universally loved. Now his family wants to take him back to Mexico to be laid to rest. But there's one big problem. Juan's brother, Brenda's dad, is also an undocumented immigrant living in Florida. And if he leaves this country to attend the funeral, he won't be able to come back. Telemundo correspondent Rogelio Moratagle spoke with Brenda Marie Gonzalez last night at a vigil for her uncle Juan, and she described the excruciating choice her father now faces on top of his grief.
For him to go through this, knowing that what his brother went through, the least we can do is just let him go see his family that he hasn't seen in years, and let him be part of his funeral. We don't want him. It's gonna break up the family if he does go. He's not gonna be able to come back, but it's gonna break it up, and we don't want that. That's why we want him to get a passport to go and come back to us. Obviously, everyone here works, goes to school here, and everything else, and he works here also to provide for the kids and my mom, and they've been through so much already that they shouldn't worry about anything other than taking him and burying him and coming back home. Our hearts are just breaking, and they continue to break, and I think forever they're going to break. My heart is, I feel like it's a dream. I can't believe this. We don't want him to leave our family at all. We don't want him to leave our family. We don't want him to go and not come back.
I'm joined now by Ida Eskamani, a development officer for Equality Florida, who's been working closely with the families affected by the attack last weekend. Ida, you heard the pain there in that family member, on top of the loss of a family member, then worrying that if her dad goes home to the funeral, he won't be able to come back. How many stories like this are we dealing with on top of the massacre in Orlando?
Yeah, and I'd first like to begin that our hearts and our prayers are with this family and all the families that have suffered such a great loss here in Orlando. You know, Orlando is an international community, and so with that comes very unique challenges when it comes to victim assistance in these types of mass shootings. And we have seen quite a few instances of very unique challenges with the Latino community. And within this community, it's important to recognize that this is a very marginalized group of people already. They face many socioeconomic challenges. They face fear and intimidation from government authorities. And so on top of the heartbreak that this massacre has caused this community, we also have these unique challenges when it comes to victims assistance.
And there is a kind of federal parole, my understanding is, that could be available to families like this. Can you talk a little bit about that? And do you know if this particular family is going to be able to avail themselves of it?
Yeah, what I can tell you, the program that you're referring to is called U-Visas, and these are visas available to victims of crime who cooperate with authorities. And currently on the ground here in Orlando, we're working to ensure that these families have access to these visas. And generally speaking, as victims, even if they're undocumented, they have rights to a full list of state and federal funding, as well as foundation funding to help support them during this time.
And the families that were, that lost loved ones in the Orlando nightclub massacre, they included families from Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. Talk about some of the unique challenges there, because I know there was one family in particular that had to then have a visa expedited to get here from Cuba because we're not quite open with that country.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's important to note. With this community, I mean, we can't even put the Latino community in one huge bucket. Within them, there's so many unique challenges. So it's a case by case. It's based on the individual, it's based on the family, it's based on the country. And so we've had situations where a mother needs a visa to come to the funeral. We've had a situation where remains need to be transported to another country. And so we've been coordinating with an in-kind network of corporations that have volunteered to help during this time of crisis, as well as coordinating on the ground with our Latino partner organizations to ensure that these folks have the resources that they need and that they know that they have the right to these resources.
And do you know whether or not this family member would be able to petition to come back if he were to go to the funeral?
I cannot speak for this specific case. I'm an advocate in this work, and if you had asked me a week ago if I would know this much about victim assistance, I wouldn't believe it. And so we here on the ground in Orlando are working in cooperation with our partners in the local, state, and federal government. At Equality Florida, we're committed to the LGBTQ community, and particularly, of course, communities of color within this community. And so we're doing everything we can to ensure they know their rights and they can have access. And during this heart-wrenching time, we're doing what we can to ensure that we focus on the victims and their families and survivors and make sure they don't get trapped in a bureaucratic mess.
Indeed. Ida Eskamani, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.